Okay, so today we're going to have a look at finding the area of shapes. We're going to use a variety of formula to do this. We also need to understand that sometimes that formula needs to be manipulated in order to find the area of the shape. The shapes can be a combination of shapes. The shapes can have different information than what we need in the formula. So we need to be able to manipulate what we're seeing to fit with the formula and then to get our correct answer. Here would actually be looking at a video of the application of these formulas for some simple shape questions. However, it won't play no matter what I do for my presentation. So I have supplied a link before my presentation for you to have a look at what the video entails. And that would generally go for about 3 minutes. So that's probably 3 minutes of my presentation, which is not accounted for. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is using the formula sheet that I have supplied. It's a little bit different to the one on the screen. The formulas are basically the same but slightly different. And we're also going to use the worksheet that I have given you. Again, a little bit different, but still working out the area of shapes. And basically I'm going to give you 20 minutes to work through this worksheet. I want you to make sure that you show all your working, because at the end of this I'm going to collect those worksheets and I'm going to mark them and I'm going to hand them back to you so that you can see what you've done well and what you might need to work on in the future. So we'll go ahead and we'll have a practice. Try and work through them on your own, and then at the end there'll be time for questions. I'm going to go through some of the questions so you can see the procedure, and then you can ask me some questions if there's any problems that you're having. Okay, so your 20 minutes is up. You should have successfully worked through those problems and hopefully you've done well with that. So we're going to go through just a couple of the problems there just to illustrate to you what you need to do when you're working through and using these formulas and the process that I would expect you to go through when you're doing a test. So I'd like to see all working, and I really do expect you to pop your formulas there as well so I can see how you are getting to your final answer. Okay, so the first one we're going to look at is the square. Now the information that we've been given is that the perimeter of the square is 24 centimetres. So we are going to be using the formula s squared, which we know is the sides squared. So how are we going to work out the length of our sides? We know that this little symbol here means that all of those sides are the same length. So we know that they're all equal. So what we need to do then, we've got a total perimeter of 24 centimetres. So we are going to divide our square 24 centimetres by 4, and that's going to give us an area and an answer of 6 centimetres. So basically each of those sides is equal to 6 centimetres. So if we pop that into our formula, we get 6 centimetres by 6 centimetres, which is s squared. And that gives us an answer of 36 centimetres squared. Now make sure when you're writing those answers that you put your units and you put squared for area, because you will lose marks for that on a test. Okay, let's have a look at the next question. We have a triangle here. We've got a height of 6 centimetres and we've got a base length of 9 centimetres. So we'll go and have a look at our formula, which is half of the base times height. So let's pop these numbers in. We've got half times 9, which is our base, times by 6, which is our height, and we should come up with the answer of 27 centimetres squared. Now that one's quite simple. You will get a few more that are a little bit more difficult, different sized triangles, different information, but you always need to remember that you're looking for half of your base times height. So even though the information might be represented a little bit differently, it'll always tell you your height and you'll always have a base length there. Alright, so this one's a little bit different. We've got quite a few measurements on here. So the formula for this one is base times height. So we need to work out what's our base and what's our height. We know that these sides, perpendicular sides, are equal because of the symbols that we have here. We looked at those symbols earlier in the term. So we know that these are equal and these are equal here. So there's a lot of information here. We need to work out what we need and what we don't. So we know that our base length is 9 centimetres, and we're working with height. So we're using the 5 centimetre length. We don't need that 6 centimetres that was circled there. That's thrown in there just to confuse us. We need to concentrate on our formula and looking at what we need and what we don't. So your answer there should be 45 centimetres squared. All right, so let's have a look at this one here. We're looking at a circle. Now we know that the formula for a circle is pi r squared. So we need to have a look at what are we given here in this picture. We're actually given the diameter. We're not given the radius. So we need to work out how do we figure out the radius so that we can pop this information into our little equation and work out the area of this circle. So the simplest thing to do is we'll divide 12 by 2. So that's going to give us a radius of 6 centimetres. So we'll pop that into the equation. Now we need to remember brackets. So we're doing pi by 6, which is our radius, and then we square that. We square the whole number. So pi 6 squared, and that's going to give us an area of 113.1 centimetres squared. So when you're doing this, I'd like you to try and keep your numbers to one decimal place, just to keep it simple. Pi is always going to give you a decimal number because it is such a big number. So try and keep that low, and then it's as accurate as it can be. All right, so that's just a couple of questions that we've looked at. As I said, I am going to collect these at the end of the lesson, and I'm going to go through and mark them. And then we can have a look at, any revision in the future that we need to look at, any problems that we're having. So I'm going to go through and just ask you some random questions. And this is a chance for you too at the end that you can come to me and ask me some questions where you might have had some problems or you think you need some help. All right.